The Gold Line Foothill Extension to Azusa is on schedule to be completed in September 2015, when it will be turned over to Metro. As each of the 6 new light rail stations starts to take shape, the station artists are hard at work behind the scenes preparing the artwork that will make each station unique. Each artist, selected by their station city based on their experience and concept, is developing artwork that will represent the history and culture of their station's surroundings and community. In this video, you will meet the station artist for the future Duarte City of Hope station.
In Duarte, the artist team that was selected are Andrea Myklebust and Stanton Sears, a husband and wife team from the Midwest. And their concept really came out of research they did about the natural environment and the wash.
I'm Andrea Myklebust.
And I'm Stan Sears.
And the station that we're working on is for the city of Duarte, California. Stan and I have been working together for 20 years now. Here in the studio we work with a lot of different kinds of materials, but mostly things that are very durable. Generally kind of classical sculptural materials that have a very long lifespan and which tend to age gracefully over time. So for this project here, and we've got some of the design drawings on the wall behind us. We're looking at fabricated steel columns with carved stone capitals on the tops of them. And we're creating some bronze pavers for the platform as well. All of this work starts with drawings. And here we have a drawing of the platform for the light rail station itself. The darker squares here represent our cast bronze pavers that are part of a larger pattern. This is where one of those vertical sculptures will land. This station is located right along the bed of a river, and some of the vegetation that grows along the banks of the river were of interest to us, and then how that connected to the history of the place in terms of the different groups of people who've lived there over time and how they interacted with that landscape. And so that's actually at the root of where the imagery and the design came from.
At this point, what we're doing are 3 different columns. It would be steel from here to here and limestone up on top. This one, imagery related to California live oak, picks up on just the structure of the leaves, but made really big and clear.
Very close to the site of this station, there would have been seasonal encampments of people who lived in the region who'd come basically at the time to harvest acorns.
This one, the basket reference is from the Tongva and the Gabrielino groups that would have been in this area a long time ago and are still there. This shows sort of a traditional weave and pattern. And this last one, this is from a kind of a Mexican saddle.
It represents a somewhat later period of settlement.
It shows a lot of the sort of the detail and the carved leather.
These are the blocks that we'll be carving the capitals out of, and we've actually started doing some work on them to get to the rough sizing. The next step is we have to do rough shaping. On these stones, because of the sort of the nature and the size of them, I'll be doing most of the carving of them. So once you've done these slices, then you come across with a hammer and chisel, and you can just... And then after that, then there's a whole lot of work with a combination of little rifflers. These are handmade Italian rifflers. They have beautiful forms that allow you to get into sort of hollow spaces. We also put the steel pins in the bottom side of it, the way that these will be fastened down to the top of the steel pylons.
This particular piece is made of steel that's quite thin. It's like 3/16 and quarter. The bases for the columns that are being made for the station in Duarte will be much heavier steel. There'll be mild steel that is then welded up and then painted. So I have a diagram here that shows, you know, up at the top you can see the elevation views, which show the kinds of articulation that you can come up with by taking that drawing and having the computer control the cutting process. And then at the base you have a plan view that shows how we take these 4 plates and we arrange them in kind of a spiral so that they generate in the middle of it a tube structure So between that tube and these sort of veins sticking out, you come up with a structure that is strong enough to hold this stone up on top of it. That's sort of the part of the sculptural project that is kind of down the middle of the station and kind of sticks up a little bit tall. The other part of it is in the pavement, and there will be a series of cast bronze pavers that are integrated in with a brick-related material.
The imagery in the pavers represents the most recent sort of wave of historical imagery that we were looking at, drawn from the citrus groves of the 20th century, and some of the beautiful print work that showed up on those orange crates that then were loaded on trains and went all over the United States and were very familiar to people.
In the pavers, you have to keep the dimensionality quite minimal because you can't create a trip hazard. On the other hand, you want a little bit of texture in this because you don't want it to be a slip hazard either. And so you work with sort of a shallow relief, but it is enough of a relief so that over time it creates quite a clear and a nice image simply by the experience of people walking across these again and again. And so the high points are polished up a little bit and the low points stay darker and collect a little bit of color and so forth.
One of the things that we found sort of appealing about this station and its location is the proximity to the City of Hope campus, this enormous medical center that's right across the street, and it's a nice space with a lot of very interesting and dedicated people moving through it. And it's nice to think that those people will be riding the train and seeing our art each day when they come and go to work.
Watch videos about other station artists, learn more about the project, or sign up to receive construction updates at www.foothillextension.org.